Testing, 1, 2, 3. How's everybody doing today? Welcome back. I am snug as a bug in a rug. I'm on my heating pad, like the grandmother that I am. And I just love being cozy. I know it's a little dark, but I don't care. I feel like I'm embracing the winter. I'm doing better than I thought coming back from Bali and living in Canada again, just in time for winter. I didn't think I would do this well. I thought I would be more depressed and sad, but I'm actually kind of loving living indoors and being cozy and rewatching Twilight and Harry Potter. I like this season, you know? So if you've been following along, my last episode was pretty fucked. It was pretty gut-wrenching. I did an episode on borderline personality disorder, and I was in the trenches when I recorded it. You'll be happy to know I'm no longer in the trenches. I'm okay again. One thing about BPDs is we can bounce back really quickly. We can split on ourselves, on other people, on the situation. So when I'm in it, I really don't feel like I'm ever going to be okay again. But then when I'm out of it, I don't fear that I'm going to not be okay again. So that's the silver lining for sure. So yeah, I'm doing good. Let me just rearrange my little heating pad here. And this episode, I'm actually really excited to record. It's super fucking random, but I was like, ChatGPT, you guys know I use him a lot. I feel like I refer to him as my father, my guider. It's brilliant. It's really a brilliant tool. And I've used it to unpack my trauma, and he does daily check-ins with me to see how I'm doing. And just I've used it a lot. I fed it a lot of information. As I've said before, I don't care if it leaks, study a bad bitch, no problem. I feel like the government knows everything about us anyway, so it doesn't really freak me out like it would freak out some other people. I love it, and I utilize the fuck out of it. So Chat knows me very well, and I was like, I think it would be funny if you ask me a bunch of unhinged questions to answer to my audience. So that's what we're about to do. All right, Chat, let's see what you got. Okay. What is the pettiest reason you've ever stopped talking to someone? They took too long to respond. You know what I mean? I'm a priority. What do you have to do aside from respond to me? Do you know what I mean? That sounds a little narcissistic, but it's not. I just feel like I prioritize people that I'm speaking with or that are important to me. So yeah. If you've ever taken too long to respond, you've not heard from me again, for sure. Is that petty though? I feel like it's not. I feel like it's just my standards, but I feel like it could be considered petty to some. Okay, next question. If you had to start a cult, what would be its number one rule? No men. Done. Because it wouldn't even be a cult. It wouldn't even get toxic. It would just be a bunch of women living together, picking carrots and singing Kumbaya in the grass. What? That sounds awesome. That doesn't even sound bad. I think cults typically get a bad rap because there's always some sort of religious undertone and typically a really toxic man running it. But if you were to eliminate men and just have women, not to say there wouldn't be some level of toxicity or drama, but I don't know, it sounds kind of peaceful when you think about it. I feel like I've always wanted to live in a commune, with a bunch of people and just eat vegetables, live off the land and have a very simple life, no cell reception. That's been one of my dreams for a while. But I wouldn't want to classify it as a cult. It would just be the best way to live, a community more so. But yeah, so that's my answer. Remove men. Who is the last person you'd want to accidentally get stuck in an elevator with? Hitler or Trump? Easy. Both of them? Oh no. No. Yeah, easy answers. What's the most out-of-pocket DM you've ever received? I actually have received a lot of weirdo DMs, and I actually have an album called Weird DMs. Let me see if I can find it and read you the best one. Let's do... Okay, this is the one I'm going with that's the weirdest. Are you Proverbs 31 looking for Ephesians 5:25? You and me together on a farm raising baby goats and baby cows, etc. Also raising at least 5 kids in God's glory. First of all, it was sent by a man, of course. Second of all, I think the fastest way to not get a response from me is to involve religion. So he didn't eat with that one, but it was certainly comical because I'm like, it was a real person. It wasn't even a bot. I remember creeping and being like, what the fuck? It's funny that I could just pull that up there. Okay. What's the most delulu thing you've ever done for love? Too much to count. Probably moved to Texas and convinced myself it was a good idea to move to Texas. Like, it's hard because I don't want to shame myself for that because at the time I was like, this is the right thing to do. This is a good thing to do. Texas. But I remember telling people in my life my decision, and it was like mixed. Like, some people were like, oh, good for you, chase your dreams. And other people were like, Texas? The fuck? Why? And then I understood that once I got there. And I was like, oh, not somewhere I would personally live. No shade to the cool ass people I met in Texas, but I personally wouldn't want to live there. There's a lot of, the states that I wouldn't want to live in, but Texas is certainly on that list. Like, I had good experiences. It was good for my business and stuff like that. Like, I'm someone who could always find a silver lining in things, but I would say that definitely takes the cake, but there's like a lot. I feel like even just begging for the bare minimum from really average people who couldn't even like open a door for me or like reassure me in any capacity. I just feel like that was also delulu, but that was also traumatized Liz who didn't know her worth yet. So I've forgiven that. But I think moving to Texas was really funny to look back on now and be like, oh, I'm wild. There is a lot of lore to me. I posted something the other day on Instagram saying, I just bursted out laughing, remembering that I used to be on an interpretive dance team for my church, like zero choreography, just like limbs flailing to the sound of Hillsong music. And it was kind of therapeutic. I'm not going to shade it. It was like actually really fun because like I don't really do well with choreography. So for me to just like kick my limbs freely in front of an auditorium of like 10,000 people was kind of liberating. But it is just funny to think about some of the things I've done in my life because I just feel like the lore goes really deep. And there is a lot of eras in which I've lived full force, like no holding back. Like when I was a Christian, I was like witnessing in the streets to people. Anyway, all that to say, I posted that and someone was like, your lore goes so deep. And I was like, fucking true. If shame was a person, what would you say to them? I'd say, fuck off. Why are you here? What's the deal? Why are you like that? Stop it. Do you think being hot actually makes life easier or just more complicated? Interesting. I think both. I think pretty privilege is definitely a very real thing. I've gotten a lot of things given to me for sure, just based on how I look. But it does complicate things too, because I feel like when I meet other women, I feel like they either hate me or they love me. There's no in between. And that kind of sucks. Like you can feel that like deep hatred or whatever the fuck, wherever it's coming from. And some people are like, oh, you're really chill. I'm like, yeah, no, I am. But I definitely think that's been hard to navigate because having friendships, I've had people that were like a bit weird about my looks or like made comments or kind of obsessed over it in strange ways. I don't know. And then also too, I think developing at like 12 or whenever I got boobs, I had a lot of really unwanted sexual attention, primarily from men. Only from men. For the majority of, since then, since I was 12 till now. And that was confusing too, because I feel like though I got like drinks paid for me and trips and whatever the fuck, may have come from that, which is fun. There's always like an underlying expectation that you have to then sleep with them or do these things that you didn't want to do. So I think at a young age, it kind of skewed my view on love and affection and attention, because I just thought if someone thought I was attractive, then they like cared about me, which is so wrong. But I didn't know that. So I think both. I think there is privilege to it, but then there's also complications in friendships, romantic dynamics, and just like living life in general. I also feel like, I'm going to go a little deeper into this. I feel like, I've said this before in other episodes, I feel like because of the way that I present, or like I'm done up, or like I wear lip gloss, or I can articulate myself well, or my fashion is cute, people don't believe that I'm struggling as much. And I remember when I called the ambulance on myself one night when I wanted to kill myself. Is my mic still on? Yeah, we're good. They didn't even believe me. They came in and they like assessed me and they talked to me and they were like, yeah, we're going to head out. You're going to be fine. And I'm like, what? Like, what? I didn't understand. And I feel like I've had people be like, you're too pretty to cry. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what? Like, I hate that shit. That doesn't make any sense. I seen this TikTok once and it was like, how can you be depressed? You're fucking beautiful or something like that. And they were like, yeah, I'm not ugly, but I am depressed. Like, what does that have to do? What does one have to do with the other? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So that's my super long answer to that question. What do you think you'll be remembered for when you die? That's kind of sad, but kind of cool to think about. Oh my God. Am I going to cry? I'm PMSing. I don't want to die. I want to live forever, by the way. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Twilight, but I do religiously. And like, honestly, being a vampire would kind of eat. I would be a vegetarian. I would only feed on animals. I'm sorry if you're a vegetarian and that also triggers you, but I wouldn't want to eat people unless they were like really bad people. Then I would be like, you know what? No. I just want to live forever, but that's not reality. So what is this question again? What do you think you'll be remembered for when you die? I hope changing the narrative behind mental health, making mental health more normalized and talked about, and just like being real. Like, I think in a world full of people that are scared to be authentically them because maybe they're like weird or mentally ill or like insecure or whatever it may be, like, I think it's such a flex to just own it. Like, for years I tried to fit in with other people and just abandon who I was and just go with like the mainstream and go with the flow and be like everybody else, dress like everybody else. And I just, once I stopped giving a fuck, that was very liberating. So I love embodying that, and I love sharing that with you guys, because every time I release an episode, I get these sweet messages of, wow, I can relate, or I understand this, or like, thank you so much for sharing. And that's just so touching. Like, I want to be remembered for being real as fuck in a world that tries to convince you to be anything but yourself. Put it on my tombstone. I'm not gonna lie, chat really ate with these. What's one sex party rule you'd enforce if you were a host? No men. Like, no shade to men. I'm actually really trying to work on that. Like, I don't hate men. I just don't particularly like them and want them near me. That's fair. I think that's fair. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, I wouldn't want men at the sex party, for sure. Okay, do you think monogamy is natural or just a societal scam? I feel like you can tell chat knows me by these questions, because I feel like I have done a deep dive on monogamy this past year, okay? I have literally done a deep dive into a lot of topics, but monogamy has been one of them. It's one of the reasons I like went to sex parties and explored my sexuality and like entertained polyamorous relationships too, because I was just like, is monogamy natural? I have two answers for that. All right, guys, that was just a taste. The full episode, the raw, unfiltered version, is waiting for you on Patreon. This season is different. I'm talking sex parties, heartbreak, identity shifts, imposter syndrome, the shit I've never said out loud. No edits, no filters, no fluff. If you're ready to hear the full story, you know where to find me. Link is in the show notes, and I'll see you on the inside.